Hello, I'm James, and I want to give some information regarding MyBath products and what to expect when you consider an install. So the first thing you need to look at is the size of the space, because you have to build those units in the space. The space itself has to be finished. The flooring's done, the finished paint is on, everything is in place, and then you build the MyBath product. So that does give you far more options, because a lot of bath products that are oversized like this, they have to be installed during the framing process. The good thing about MyBath is you build it in place. It gives you a lot of options to put it on different floors in your house. We have a customer here that wants to replace this garden tub with a MyBath product, either the Anzio or the Superior tub shower combo. So we're just going to take a couple measurements here. And we know that we've got 48 inches by 72 inches. So we have more than enough room for the Anzio. We would probably have to do away with this linen cabinet in order to put in the Superior, but there's still more than enough room to put in another cabinet if you did that footprint. Another consideration that you want to look at is the flooring type. So you want to make sure, again, I mentioned it's a finished floor. If you have a linoleum floor, you need to put something underneath the feet of that base as you're building it, so when you go to slide it into place, you're not going to damage that floor or tear it up, because you have to have enough room to get around this to build it. So we're going to go into another bathroom here in just a moment and look. And you're going to see that we would not have enough room for the Anzio in the other option that this customer is wanting for a bathroom upgrade, because you have to build the product out here, so you need to be able to walk around it. So you're going to need at least 18 inches to 2 foot of space all the way around that product to be able to assemble. And then another consideration is your drain placement. So if your drain is not in the correct place and you feel comfortable moving that, great. If you need to hire a contractor, just let them know where your drain placement is, and you can get all those from the drawings from MyBath. With this particular garden tub, it has a right-hand drain. That would not work if I were to install an Anzio, because you have the media wall that has all of your control functions and your media screen in it. I would want that against this wall, so I have full glass all around, my towel holder on the outside. So I would want to move this drain over some to be able to accommodate the Anzio. The Superior does give you a lot more wiggle room when it comes to putting in the drain lines. The drain lines for these are flexible, and they stretch in and out almost like an accordion style. So as you're building, you slide it out. It does have room to bend and move. A lot of contractors get that part confused. They're intimidated by it because they're used to putting in fixtures and hard gluing in plumbing. The great thing about the MyBath products is the flexibility of it and being able to put them into unique locations as long as you have the room. So with that flexible drain line, you're able to slide it out, build it in place, slide it back, and you still will not have any leaks. So now we are in the customer's home in the second bathroom as an option for a bathroom upgrade. And this one will not work for a 60-inch shower or Superior or one of the larger units, because as I mentioned before, you need room to build in here. This is a very standard bathroom, very common. So you are looking at 5 foot wide or 60 inches, and then you have a 30 or 32 inch deep tub. So you want to look at the dimensions of that as you're building your product. Even if we were to remove this toilet to be able to slide it out from the wall, you still would not have enough room to work on the ends of the product if it were a 60 inch. MyBath does offer the 48 inch and a few other sizes, so you would just have to check out the products on their website to see what is available. But this would not be a good bathroom choice for one of the larger units, just simply because you do not have room to work around. I was telling you about the flexible drain line that connects the Myabath products. This is the flexible drain line. This screws into the side of the drain that's on the bottom of the Myabath unit, and then this flexible hose will stretch quite a bit and be able to move because of needing to be able to move the unit. You have to build it in place, as I said. You have to be able to walk around it. So you're going to slide it out from the wall, construct the unit. Very easy. There's some videos out there for that and instructions. And then once you've got it built, you push it back into place. This will conform to whichever shape it needs to be in and still allow it to drain. Again, this part here attaches to the drain assembly of the Myabath unit. This piece here will get a rubber flexible adapter, and it'll either be a 2" to 1¼ or a 1.5" to 1¼ and I'll show you what that looks like now. So your drain line for your shower system or whatever you're using will have a P-trap in it here, and this is designed to keep water in it, and you want that because it will keep sewer gas from coming into your home. As long as there's water in this, the sewer gas will not be able to push up and through. So when this P-trap and this drain section here that goes on down the line to the sewage system is going to be below the floor. So what sticks up will be just this 90. That's all you want to stick up. You don't want it to be much above the floor than this, because the Myabath units do not set very high off of the floor. So you want to make sure that you have this as close down as possible, and then the recommended location for the unit that you're installing, because if it is too tall or if it's in the wrong location, it could hit one of the supporting feet or just hit the underside of the unit itself, and you can't install with that because it'll crack the fiberglass. So you want this down low. Here's your flexible adapter. This is a 2" to 2". It's the only one I had available for demonstration, but it'll go from 2 to 1¼ or if this were 1.5" plumbing, then to 1¼ and you just tighten that down with a screwdriver. Now, something to note is the piece that sticks up that you're going to be tying into, you want to use more of a sweeping 90. And by that I mean how much it goes to drain here. Where this is a shorter turn of a 90, you have more potential for clogs, and it's harder to address clearing those clogs with this shorter 90. I recommend a sweeping 90 this size or even longer. Whichever one you choose, make sure that it is sitting flat on the floor. Or if you are a place that is built on a concrete slab, most often those drain lines are set in, it's framed out in a wooden box, and they backfill that with sand or gravel, and that is down below the floor line. So that's perfectly fine to be down in here, as long as that box is clear enough to be able to come in and hook up your flexible line down here. Now we're going to talk briefly about the electrical connection. I've had some questions about it. So inside your wall, you're going to have a junction box. It has to be a junction box because you're going to do a splice with wire nuts. I have two different boxes here. You're going to be working with at least 10 gauge wire because the Myabath products, at least all the ones that I've installed, require a 30 amp 2-pole breaker and a 10 gauge wire or larger. So you do not want to use a metal box this size. You certainly want to use one this size or larger to make sure you have enough room. So this box would be installed in the wall and open, and you'll have your wire coming in here. Your 10 gauge wire, so it'd be a 10-3. So you would have a black wire, white wire, red wire, and then your bare ground wire or your insulated green wire, however you choose to wire that. I would look at your wiring constraints based on where you live and the authority having jurisdiction, not just electrical code. So when this is in your wall there, you're going to have to put a plate cover in it. So you have your wires here. Now you're going to have the wires from your unit. So that is a larger cord, and it's going to have 4 wires in it. They're going to be labeled with an N1 and an N2. Those are what people would call your hot wires. So those ones labeled N1 and N2 are going to go to your black and your red in here. And then in order to make that connection, you want to get a plate cover that has a knockout in the center. Now this particular one has a 3/8 inch knockout. That's not going to be large enough for the wire. So I took one, I had a 3-inch knockout there, and I used a step bit to make this a little bit larger so I could put in a 3/4 inch knockout box connector, or whatever the terminology is that you use or the people at your hardware store use. So now the wiring from the unit will go into here. This will clamp onto the rubber portion of that, and then you'll have the sections of wire in here. And again, don't pay attention to the color code for how they come on the Maya Bath unit. Pay attention to the labeling. So you'll have an L1 and an L2. Those are your hots. You'll have a N1, which is your neutral, and then you'll have one either marked with G for ground, or it'll give you the ground symbol. And then you'll just connect those to this here. This wire will go back to your breaker box, and that has to be installed on a ground fault circuit interrupter breaker. So ground fault protection protects people, and it will trip in a millisecond. So if it senses any type of change in the current, it will kill the power to the unit to reduce or eliminate completely any electrical shock. For the water connection part of this video, I came to the local hardware store to look at a laundry connection box. We have the hot on the left, cold on the right if you're plumbing that yourself. You have 1/2 inch national pipe thread NPT here on the bottom, and then the 3/4 inch washing machine hose connections here. All Maya Bath products come with a female threaded side, so it's going to look like this but on a hose, and it's going to be 1/2 inch. So you have to get an adapter, and the hardware store had this adapter here, so it'll screw onto this here, and then you can see that now the Maya Bath hot and cold water lines will now screw directly into this laundry box. A very fast and efficient way to do this. These would act as your shutoff valves, and it keeps everything neat and clean